Hey guys, let's get more news about Dallas, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Cowboys projected to regret head-scratching free agent move. Once the draft had passed and it dawned on the Cowboys that a running back had not fallen into their laps as they'd hoped, the move was obvious. Dallas needed to fill a hole in the backfield and former Cowboys great Ezekiel Elliott needed a job. The Cowboys locked him up on a minimum contract. It was a win for sentimentality. But was it really a win on the field for the Cowboys, who dropped Elliott a year ago because it was clear he just was not effective anymore? He had an uninspiring season playing for a terrible Patriots team, and now it appears the Cowboys will call on him to head a committee that also features Rico Dowdle, 2022 sixth-rounder Deuce Vaughn, and newly signed Royce Freeman. The Cowboys have downplayed the idea that the team will lean on Elliott as the lead back. But the other trio in the committee combined for 727 yards last year on a total of 184 carries. These are not exactly workhorse numbers. Elliott had 642 yards on 184 carries. According to Bleacher Report, this all sets up a very regrettable situation for the Cowboys. Indeed, Elliott was not the same running back in 2022 when Tony Pollard essentially swiped his job as the Cowboys starter. He showed flashes, but on the whole, he was no better with the Patriots in 2023. Thus, in an article titled, 10 Draft Picks, Trades, Signings from 2024 NFL Offseason That Teams Will Regret Most, BR analyst Christopher Knox highlights the decision to bring back Elliott. The Dallas Cowboys' decision to bring back Ezekiel Elliott wasn't risky, it was a flat-out head-scratching move, Knox wrote. No one should be particularly excited about Elliott's return. The 28-year-old has lost most of the burst he showcased early in his career and has seen his efficiency dip dramatically over the last 2 years. He averaged 3.8 yards per carry with Dallas in 2022 and just 3.5 yards per carry last season with the New England Patriots. The Cowboys simply aren't likely to field a quality rushing attack this season, which is a big problem. How much a problem it will be can be debated. The Cowboys' running game was middle of the pack in 2023, putting up 1,920 yards, which was 14th in the NFL. Yet Dallas led the league in points and was 5th in total yardage. They can withstand a mediocre running game if Dak Prescott shines like he did in the 2023 regular season. But, do the Cowboys even have enough to be middle of the road? Given the lack of proven production in the rest of the lineup, this could all end up with the team relying heavily on Elliott. Coach Mike McCarthy was asked about Elliott having to be a workhorse for the Cowboys. "I don't think that's fair," he said. "What do you mean?" "The guy carried the ball more than anybody in the history of football in the first couple of years. That's not going to be his role. We're a running back by committee. He'll definitely play at the level that he's played at in my time here. I anticipate that. I don't see any drop-off in the way he moves." Elliott has as sterling a resume as a Cowboys running back as just about any in franchise history. He led the league in rushing as a rookie, and again in his third season, and led the NFL in yards per game for his first 3 years, at 108.7 yards, 98.3 and 95.6. He scored 68 touchdowns in 7 seasons. His drop-off was considerable over the past 2 years, though. The Cowboys are counting on him to turn that around. Brandon Cooks predicts breakout year for Cowboys WR. The 2023 NFL season didn't turn out as well as the Dallas Cowboys expected heading into the year. The Cowboys seemed confident that they would run through the NFC, which looked like it was the case during the regular season. They did not lose at home during the regular season, and for the most part, they dominated their competition in every game. Of course, that streak ended during their opening round playoff matchup, as they lost a heartbreaker to the Green Bay Packers. After seeing the team fall a lot earlier than was expected, fans believed the front office would make several moves to improve the team ahead of the 2024 campaign. One of the positions that supposedly needed more depth was at wide receiver, as there looked to be a significant skill gap in their depth chart after CeeDee Lamb. Brandon Cooks has been a great WR2 alongside Lamb, but there hasn't been anyone stepping up as a WR3 to give Dak Prescott more options. Cook spoke about this in recent comments to the media, as shared by Around the NFL. While the Cowboys didn't add any big-name receivers in the offseason, Cooks believes they have who they need in Jalen Tolbert. The time is now for him, Cooks said. Tolbert was a third-round selection in the 2022 NFL Draft, a player the Cowboys believed could make an impact on their roster. He was a non-factor in his rookie season, but he did achieve 22 receptions in 2023 for 268 yards and 2 touchdowns. While this stat line doesn't necessarily pop off the page, if he can keep the momentum moving, he could turn into a viable target in this offense. See how this surprising candidate, the Dallas Cowboys, is linked to $196 million free agent Ryan Tannehill. The Dallas Cowboys' surprise prospect has been linked to $196 million free agent Ryan Tannehill in a potential signing this offseason. According to a report, the Cowboys could add him at the quarterback position. However, Tannehill's regular days as a starter were over. A former number 8 pick from the 2012 draft was a starter for the Dolphins from 2012 to 2018 before spending the past 4 seasons with the Titans. Tannehill still offers some valuable experience with 151 games played, which is better than what the Cowboys have on the depth chart. It won't cost the Cowboys much, as he will likely be seeking a 1-year contract deal before retiring. Tannehill doesn't have much time to sustain a team, but he still adds value to the tank he still has. However, it won't cost Cowboys much money. The Pro Bowler has had some quality moments throughout his career. He has managed to maintain a 64.3% completion rate on his journey, but has an 81-70 record and a 2-3 record in the playoffs. Tannehill is no longer in his prime, but one wonders what he could do in camp as a backup talent. Tannehill could thrive in the pocket as the number 2 quarterback behind Tagovailoa with great talent around him, as he did in 2020. He was able to score 3,819 yards and 33 touchdowns while having some of the best receiver depth lineups that season. A.J. Brown, Corey Davis, and tight end Jonnu Smith were his targets, who managed to see him reach the team's first playoff run in a long time. However, he is coming off a bad year in 2023, after 8 games as a starter, and Will Levis took over as starter. A reunion could be what he needs to complete the rest of his journey in the league. Despite injuries last year, he has thrown 4,152 yards passing for 17 touchdowns over the past 2 seasons. Here are some potential destinations for Tannehill. The Saints could be available to sign the veteran to serve under Derek Carr, coming off a disappointing rookie season. Dennis Allen should probably see how Carr adjusts to the new offensive pieces, but if he doesn't see improvement, they could put Tannehill on in a pinch. Tannehill isn't getting any younger, but if the next 2 years are disastrous for Bryce Young, he could be the temporary starter until they find a permanent solution in Carolina. The Panthers shouldn't worry too much about production, considering they were able to bring in new toys for Young. However, one quarterback whose future is uncertain is Dak Prescott. The Dallas Cowboys have done nothing to improve their roster while delaying contract negotiations. Could they be tanking on purpose? That could be the case as Prescott is entering his senior year. Tannehill isn't perfect, but he could be the temporary solution like a Nick Foles 2.0 to take the Cowboys to the Super Bowl. And you fan? What do you think of the situation of Ryan Tannehill? Leave your opinion in the comments.